Hello, listen, Malorian, and we're now into the fifth and last game of the Warhammer tournament. And at this point, I'm feeling good. I start off bad, but ever since then, massacre win, massacre win, massacre win. So if I do good here, I don't think I'm going to win the whole thing because there's another guy that has 4 massacre wins. You know, he'd have to get a massacre loss for us to tie. And the big thing here at this tournament is they don't rank by general scores. There's a best painted, best sportsman, and then the only other awards are best 3 for overall. And the guy that already has 4 massacre wins, well, he's getting amazing painting scores because he has a beautiful army. So I'm not going to go for the top, but man, it'd be awesome to place. And I know my daughter's been going crazy for trophies and wants, Malorian to bring one home. So we're going to try it here. The problem is that this is going to be a really hard game. The table I'm on is the vampire table. This is the one that pissed off Matt Reeson, has pissed off other guys, because it is freaking tough. This is the one where there's all this terrain around, and you have to go searching it. You can only search one piece of terrain per turn, and really what it is a list of all the terrain. You roll a dice. If it's that terrain, bam, he pops out. Otherwise, you mark it off. Later on, you roll for other pieces of terrain. Again, if you get that piece of terrain, hooray. But if it's one that it wasn't before, then you re-roll. So obviously, as you go on, it gets easier and easier to find them. However, after he pops up, at the start of every turn, he's going to charge in. This vampire is a badass. And the main thing is, if you don't kill this guy, both of you lose. So this can be pretty bad, and it really helps that both players are trying to work together. Now, one of the things here as well is that while you're playing this, it's not like the first one to kill the vampire wins. Well, every wound you do to the vampire gives you points, and then the game is still based off victory points. So you're fighting your opponent, you're trying to find this vampire and trying to kill him, and you really need to kill this vampire to lose the whole thing. Now, the worst thing about this as well is that I'm up against this one dwarf player. I've never played against him before, but I know he has a very sit back gun line type army, and looking from it from the very beginning, I'm pretty sure he's planning on not getting the vampire. His one hope is that I find it and then he can shoot it and kill it, but otherwise it's all up to me to find this vampire and kill him. So this is a tall order, and let's see what happens. Alright, so here we are looking at his army, and first of all we'll start with his little hill here. And this is one of the pieces of terrain, again, you could be searching. He has a cannon, he has 2 grudge throwers, 2 master engineers, and then a big block here of the longbeards that have a lord and a rune priest in it. And then over here, a massive long line of 40 thunderers with shields and banner, whatever. And then another block of longbeards with another lord and another rune priest. So yeah, a lot of little setback stuff, and the shots from those thunderers are gonna frickin' hurt. Overall, this is what the board looks like. So there's kind of like a little graveyard thing on my side. There's that statue. There's the trees. There's these marshes. There's this building. And these are all things you can all search. And for the most part, what I'm planning to do as a tactic is, first of all, when we're placing things down, he put that block way on the right. And as soon as he did that, I thought that was great. I'm going to try and not engage that block whatsoever, because remember, I can't just focus on the vampire. I have to win this game too, legit. And so if I can keep them over there and bait them away, that'll be great. I'm pretty sure my trolls can eat one round or a couple rounds of shots from the thunderers and then charge in and just wipe him out. Now, that leaves this other block. Now, while my savages are going over and dealing with the war machines, it's going to be up to my black orcs and other units just to stop them from going in and going to the flank of my trolls or something. So it could even be a thing where I'm just going to go and try and like foot a gork them, bring them down, and then go after from there. Now, the next thing here is the actual fighting the vampire. Because again, if I don't do that, doesn't matter how well I do, I lose. By the way, he also has 2 gyrocopters. One gyrocopter on the left, one on the right. Now, this is actually going to be kind of backwards. I am going to go to his side first and try and search his pieces of terrain so that, remember, they have the least likelihood of actually being right. It could backfire, but I'm going to go over with my fast cav, search his stuff, so that when I search my things later, then it'll be easier to find him. And hopefully, remember, he charged at the start of turn, so if I search after that point, then maybe I can shoot him, I can magic him. I'm hoping to send some fanatics into him, but that's the overall idea. Right away, though, we have some issues here where we have a shot coming in from him. He wins first turn, and basically where I thought that his cannons and stuff would be going for the big targets, right? The trolls, the black orcs, something like that. He's actually going for a panic type thing. So what he did, he just destroyed my middle spear chukka, which is 35 points and low risk to him, but then it did this leadership bomb and also made one of my chariots here run off. I got a little bit lucky. The left chariot did not panic. The left spear chukka did panic, but whatever, they just kind of hide. But yeah, this is kind of a different thing where he's just going for panic bomb, which is not what I usually see from dwarf players. Other than that, it looks like this. I had vanguarded up, and so the one gyrocopter had gone over and flamed my wolves on the left. They failed to panic, but no big deal. I'm all set up so I can counter it with my chariot. On the right side, he's also going after me, and otherwise he destroyed one of my rock lavas, but, it's not so bad so far. My turn, I'm really just moving on up. I'm able to rush up and search the woods on the far right. He's already trying to measure to see if he could get me, and he couldn't. But it's not those woods, so there's one down. Otherwise, my wolves kind of run, and they go into the woods, and they get eaten by the woods, because the woods in the middle is one that, hurts you if you're there. And really for this part, I'm trying to foot a Gorkum and stuff. He just uses Dispel Rune. I try and hit him with some war machines to take out his cannon and stuff, but everything's failing. At least I was able to kill a few of the warriors with the Spear Chukka, but that's really it. Over here, he turns to face my Wolf Riders, and this really was a mistake. I love seeing this because I think what he thinks he's trying to do is force me around the woods, take some dangerous terrain, take some panic, but for the most part, this is taking this big block out of the game, and for the most part, I might not pass my March test, but I can still, with my movement 9, just get around this block anyway. So overall, after his turn, it looks like this. He pummeled my trolls. I mean, once he hit it with one of the flaming grudge throwers, then obviously everything else, no regen. I was losing lots of wounds. But hey, now I'm 12 away from the Thunderers. If I just get a 6, I'll be able to charge in there and, kick their butts, really. So I'm all feeling really good for that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's clear now that he's not going to be searching any terrain. So I really have to do this all by myself. I do have that one gyrocopter bugging me, but at least the left one was destroyed by a chariot, and the savages are moving up on those war machines. One of the things that does bug me here, though, is that unit curved in. So if I fail my charge, I'm probably going to be taking those warriors to the flank. So I'm going to need to find some way to stop them if this fails, like really force through a hand of Gork or something. But, I mean, first let's see if I make the charge. So on my turn, I do make the charge. Stun and shoot did hurt, but hey, whatever, I'm immune to psych. And I think for the most part, what he does against most people is he probably goes wide like this, shoots for a couple of turns, and then reforms for ranks. Because hey, these guys with shields and in horde formation aren't that bad. However, movement 6 got me right across the board and into them right away, and there's no way these guys will stick unless they get double ones. So after a turn, it looks like this. I've now searched the marsh on his side. It's not there either, so we're getting there. We're getting there. The chariot came back on, is facing his war machines. I've destroyed his other gyrocopter, and at this point, I'm just kind of sitting there and watching the other unit, making sure I have the threat there, so he can't just turn and look at the other trolls. But, as far as the game-wise goes, I'm clearly winning. As far as finding the vampire goes, that still needs to happen. So his turn then, it's really just a matter of him shooting at my Black Orcs and turning back to face me. I was really happy he didn't look back at the trolls. In fact, just kind of moved back. And so this isn't so bad. I mean, if we're going to have a staring contest, I can leave my Black Orcs here forever while my other units do their jobs. So next there, on my turn, I go over and I slam into the cannon with my chariot. I wasn't able to destroy it though. I thought I would be able to, but it just did not work. And otherwise, my trolls would be stupid forever and just in that one corner. Over here, I had it set up so that he could go after my wolves, but that was on purpose, so I could then flee, go over the building, and just rally anyway. And again, these guys are going to be pretty much out of the game. Once we touched this building, though, we did find out it was a haunted mansion, so that'll be annoying, but nothing too bad. And then after everything's said and done, I finally do defeat that cannon in combat that also panics one of his engineers. Shooting into Black Orcs kills even more, so obviously I don't want to get into this fight anymore, but meh. Alright, so back to my turn. I charge in the chariot into the master engineer and then the savages into the grudge thrower. Because of the way that this works, we're just leaving this down here. And after everything's said and done, it looks like this. So, the chariot was actually killed by the master engineer. I did not expect this to happen, but I'm now into the other grudge thrower, so all those points are being eaten up. I searched another piece of terrain. I believe it's I think it was the woods I searched this time, but it wasn't actually there. So again, haven't found this vampire, and I'm really worried about losing. Funny enough, the trolls actually pass stupidity. They rally, or turn around rather, but they're not going to do anything now. So back on his turn, not really much to do. I'm just going to, he's just sitting there with his guys. I kill his other war machine. Over here then, finally, I think this is turn 5, I finally find the vampire. And this is where I plan to do this. I brought over the Night Goblins, searching with the other unit so that he's going to come out, I shoot through the fanatics, and then I can go from there. The bad news is that I shoot through the fanatics, and he makes all of his armor saves. So that completely failed. I tried doing the Foot of Gork. It actually scattered back onto my Night Goblins, killing a few of them. And once that happened, I was like, damn. I am screwed. But luckily for me, I had one Doom Diver that came over here, did a full 6 hits, killed the vampire, and thank God. So a win for the Orcs and Goblins and another massacre. And this is just what I needed. But man, what a hard fight. And kind of a frustrating fight too. It's one of these things where normally you're trying to beat your opponent, beat the mission. But in this weird case, it was like the mission and my opponent had joined forces, and they're both trying to fight me. I mean, I was talking to the tournament organizer after that. I mean, normally when most people are doing this and each of you are searching on each of your turns, you're going to find it after turn 3. But when you got one side that's not searching at all, and in fact they're just trying to stop you from winning, because actually, like I said in the beginning, and I talked to my opponent about this too, his first plan was just to hope I find the vampire and then shoot him. And if nothing else, he was already looking at it as a thing where I was probably going to beat him, and so a minor loss is better than a massacre loss, which makes tactical sense. It just is frustrating for me, and especially as it went on, that's definitely what he was hoping for. He was really hoping I wasn't going to find the vampire so that I would lose, he would lose, but at least he wouldn't get a massacre loss. So maybe it should be a thing where the vampire should come in like automatically in turn 3, but whatever, I got it. Hooray! So I'm not going to say my final standings and what happened. I'm going to do a final video where I'm going to talk about the tournament, my standings, my thought of how it was run, and then break down my list. But that's going to come up, and I hope you like this battle. Bye.